Gradient. In this lesson, we shall learn more about how we calculate the gradient of a line. We have our mnemonic, our aide memoire, which is that gradient is get your xylophone. And that reminds us that in order to calculate the gradient of a line, we're going to take the change in y over the change in x. Here are the 4 steps to remember when calculating the gradient of a line. Number 1, decide if the gradient of the line will be positive or negative. Number 2, choose any 2 convenient points on the line. Number 3, carefully determine the change in the y-coordinate and the change in the x-coordinate, and from that calculate the gradient using our mnemonic gradient equals y change over x change, or as we said, gradient get your xylophone, y change over x change. Here we have 2 lines, and we're going to just take our time to take our 4 steps to find the gradient of these 2 lines, line 1 and line 2. We said earlier, the first step is to decide if the line will have a negative or a positive gradient. That helps you in the end. So let's have a look at line 1. We said that we approach the line always from left to right, the direction in which we read. So as we come across, we'll meet the line up here, and we're going down, and so we know that it's going to have a negative gradient. And when we look at line 2, as we come across from left to right, we meet our line here, and we're moving up the line, and so line 2 will have a positive gradient. So line 1 will have a negative gradient because we're going down. Any line that slopes down from left to right is negative, and any line that slopes up from left to right is positive. So once we've decided if our line will be negative or positive, we're going to choose 2 convenient points on our line. So let's deal with line 1 first. Well, you have to find convenient points that you can easily read the coordinates, and when you go up along our line here, the first convenient point is here because it meets at the place where 2 coordinates, the y and the x coordinates, meet perfectly. So this is a convenient point. -2 on the x-axis, 3 on the y-axis. And as we follow our line down, another convenient point is here, 1 on the x-axis and -1 on the y-axis. When we look at our line 2, as we follow our line, here's a convenient point because it's easy to see what the coordinates are, -3 on the x-axis and -4 on the y-axis. And as we follow our line, here's another convenient point, 2, 2. So once we've identified our convenient points, we need to now find the coordinates of our convenient points. We've already mentioned them. Our point A, -2, 3 are the coordinates, and point B on the same line 1, 1, -1. And for our line 2, we have a point C, -3, -4, and our point D, 2, 2. So once we've identified the coordinates, then we can identify the changes in x and in y, which is our third step. We said step 3, determine the y change for the 2 points. So let's deal with the y change and then the x change after. So y here on our line 1 was 3, and we're going down, so we know it's going to be a negative, and it went to -1. And so from 3 to -1, we're going down 4 steps, so the y change is -4. And then similarly here, if you look at the x change, we started on -2, and the x change should always be positive if you follow the instructions of always working from left to right. So we've gone from -2 and we've ended up on 1. So from -2 to 1, from here to here, as far as the x-axis is concerned, we've gone across 3. So our 2 changes are -4 on the y and 3 on the x. Let's do the same for line number 2. So we're starting here. Y change comes first. We are on -4. We're going up as the line is sloping upwards to 2. So from -4 to 2, it's going up 6. And then x is going from -3 to 2. That's a change of 5 units. So we have 6 and 5. And then we use those measurements to find the gradient. So So what does that mean? It simply means that gradient m, the symbol for gradient is m, is y change over x change. And for line 1, the y change was -4, the x change was 3, and so the answer is 1 and a third, -1 and a third, because we know that it's a negative line, it's going down. And then the other one, the gradient here is 6 over 5, which is 1 and 1/5. So we understand that in order to work out the gradient, we have 4 steps. Here they are again. First of all, decide if the gradient will be positive or negative. That's very important. Choose 2 convenient points on the line and determine their coordinates. Find the change in the y-coordinate and the change in the x-coordinate between the 2 points that you have chosen. And remember, the y change will be negative if the gradient is negative. That means the line is sloping downwards, like this, from left to right, sloping down. Then use your formula that the gradient is y change over the x change to calculate the gradient. And remember to write the minus sign if the gradient is negative. If you follow these simple steps, you can find the gradient of any line. Be mindful that if you're given a question, there might not be any coordinates on the axis. You can just use boxes or whatever, because as long as they are uniform, as long as the units are identical, you can work out the gradient by noting how the line changes from 2 points on the y-axis and how the line changes on 2 points on the x-axis. Well, have a go at some questions and see how you do.